one tip: sell what you make the most money, not what you like. That's a great tip. That's a great tip. And I think that's something that I'm trying to just pay more attention to. I was only trying to sell shoes. I wasn't even selling shoes that I would particularly wear, but I liked sneakers so much that I was trying to make that the main category. Now I'm not necessarily thinking of a quote unquote main category. If I can find a really good deal on something random like a coffee mug, I don't care about coffee mugs. I don't even drink coffee, but if I can find a really good deal, I'm going to start taking advantage of that, only so that I can use that money to kind of fund the bigger dreams and the bigger goals. Because like I said earlier in the video, the goal is to make a lot of money, because generational wealth is super important to my wife, myself and my wife, as we're thinking of the bigger picture. So money is super important, but at the same time, I'm trying to learn I'm trying to develop my business acumen so that I can teach my child and I can teach my little cousins, and I can have them gain the same knowledge of how to really run a business and create a business, instead of just, look for this, find this particular item and flip it on eBay. That's a skill. That's like a picker skill, and that's super important. My kids are going to know that too. But the bigger picture of like how to run a business, how to build relationships, how to do accounting, all of those things, those are the things I'm really going to try to instill in the next generation for sure. See, I'm trying to streamline process so my teenage son can help. That's a really good thing. You got to make sure with the processes, write everything down. That's something I'm in the process of doing. So whatever you do on a daily basis, whether that's sourcing, whether that's shipping, write out the entire process. So from start to finish, how you start your day, how you end your day, how you source, what you're looking for, just the mindset, write all of those things down. That way it can be clearer to you. And that way, when you want to help your son, he can actually see, okay, this is it's almost like a business manual. You know what I mean? You want to create that business manual. That way it's easier for him to just understand everything. And I'm going through that same thing right now. I'm literally writing down processes every day now. Everything that comes to mind, I'm writing it down. That way it makes more sense to me. That way I can see it for myself, why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I can kind of realize to myself when I'm just being busy and I'm not actually being productive. So it's important to see it for yourself. My level up is to focus on large to plus size women. I notice when I sell to them directly instead of via Poshmark, they don't haggle me. They pay exactly the price. That's a good, I think the smaller you can niche down your business, the better. And I've never been a fan of having a huge store. Never been a fan of that. I've seen people try the volume game. I remember when I first got onto YouTube, everyone would ask me, how big is your store? How much inventory do you have? Because I guess the concept was always, you have to have, if you're not a successful reseller if you don't have an enterprise store, or you don't have at least 2,000 items in your store. But most of the time you go to these 2,000 item store, these 50,000 item store, and they're junk. They're stuff that nobody wants. And their sell-through rate is really, really bad. So I never was a fan of that. I was always a fan of quality over quantity. Even when I was thrifting and getting used stuff, if you guys remember, drop a comment in the chat. The stuff I would find in these thrift stores was A1 stuff. So the fact that they would sell so fast wasn't a surprise. I was selling Lululemon and Patagonia when it was at its height, when people was, clamoring for these things. Now it's not as hyped anymore, but I was finding really good stuff. So it's all about trying to fine tune and just narrow in on your niche, whatever it is. So if you want to focus on plus size clothing for women, I think you can really, if you can dominate that space, but just really focusing on that. Even if you're in a thrift store and you see something that might not be plus size, it might be something random, don't even get it. Focus on, what it is that you're trying to niche down on, focus in on, and you'll be good. My problem is pricing, comps or my own pricing. You gotta do the comps. You have to do the comps. When it comes down, the comps is the comparative prices, the comparative sales, comparative sold listings. You have to check the comps. You can price your item for whatever you want it to price for, whatever you think it's worth. But the market is the market. So when you put something up, most people aren't going to spend. They're not going to spend more with you just because of you. If they can find a better deal somewhere else, they're going to find a better deal. So you just want to make sure that you're pricing your stuff according to the market. I know for a fact sometimes if you do have really good feedback, really good pictures, you might be able to price your item maybe $5 or $10 more, maybe a little, just 5-10% more than your competitors if your listing stands out. But in terms of like making up a price out of thin air and just thinking that's what it's going to sell for, that never works. So you got to check, you got to trust the comps, because the market is the market. It doesn't matter what it is.
For the winner, cause you felt like you was losing, only for the winner. Move just to keep from cooling, like only for the winner, only for the winner, only for the winner. Boy, my heart is cold, and I'm too cool to sweat it. I should've never offered it. I'm tight and now I'm off this shit. You should wanna be a real one. Earn the base is hard, I still